As Americans, we emotionally eat. We eat when we feel bad. We eat when we feel good. We need to stop this and we need to eat the right ways. We need to stop emotionally eating. But how we do it, I'll tell you in this video. My name's Nick Tabor. I'm a personal trainer. I talk about this stuff through health, wellness, and fitness, and also eating habits. Because I've lived through this, and oh man, I've lived through this one, I can tell you. Oh yes, I emotionally ate. And you know why we do that? Well, when I was growing up, when something was bad, I had my favorite food for dinner. When something was good, I had my favorite food for dinner. And as we grow up, we link these foods with comfort. Now, depending on where you're watching this may not be entirely true to you, or there may be some differences, but we seek a source of comfort because what happens is when we eat those foods based on whatever reason why we're eating them, it links in our brain and it hits that same pleasure center of our brain as food and having sex. Every single time that happens, I had a great love affair with pizza and I had a great love affair with cheeseburgers. Like, my grandfather was a great cook. He cooked in the Navy, he cooked for multiple people, and one of the greatest joys in his life was making great food for people. One of my greatest joys of childhood was actually when he had cookouts and he used to make cheeseburgers on that old style nasty grill. Like, that grill that you just kind of like, ooh, God. Like, no one would really touch that grill for a moment, but you knew love was going to come out of that. Like, it looked kind of odd. It looked old. Some areas might not have been totally upkept, but man, the food that came off that heat was just delightful. Every time you'll have that, every one of you have that nasty grill. You know what I'm talking about. Whether it's now or whether it's in the childhood, there's something weird about it, but you know what I mean, right? When we eat, I had, an addiction to cheeseburgers later on in life in my, I think it was my early adult years, 18, 19, right to my mid-20s. And there was a time I was teaching and I was going to see students in their houses. I was teaching martial arts, and I was going to my supplier about 40 miles down from where I live right now. And I stopped at a Wendy's a bunch of times. I spent $50 on burgers, and I was eating them on the way down because I was super nervous. And every time I ate it, went back to my grandfather, and I went, whoa, okay. Because I never dealt with my grandfather's death. I constantly ate a burger all the time. And I didn't pick this up until I was in my 20s, like late 20s, matter of fact, after I even started eating clean. And, the pizza, that's kind of a funny story. I always ate, pizza all my life. And, again, it was something like, okay, hey, there's a kid's party. And, growing up with disabilities, I didn't get invited to a lot of kids' parties. But when I did, there was always pizza. And I always got to see all these friends. And we got to play games. And, hey, that was cool. That was great, right? Hit the brain, right? So every time you eat pizza, you think about some pleasurable time. Like, when you're an adult, you eat that food because when you were a kid, you didn't have any adult worries. You didn't have any of that stuff, right? And there's a funny story with this, is there's a local pizza place that we used to order from constantly. Unfortunately, it's no longer around. There was one point where they called me after I stopped eating for a wellness check, just to make sure I was okay. And they're like, hey, Nick, you haven't ordered in a while. Are you doing all right? We just want to make sure you're good. I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm good. Yeah. I need to make better choices, But what we do is we got the emotional eating, and I know you probably have that. There's that one food that you gotta have. And you have it, and you know you shouldn't eat it, But how do we stop that emotional eating? I'll tell you, I got some 3 steps. First thing you got to figure out, as we just illustrated, with my grandfather, you got to figure out the why. Why are you eating this? What's going on? You got to take that morsel of knowledge, and once you know the reason why it is, you got to work on that. I saw a therapist for a long time, and one of the parts of my PTSD was that I had to confront and deal with my grandfather's death. And I never dealt with that, and I'm at my point, I was in my 30s. I'm still 35 at the time of recording this at least, but I was 32 roughly, so 17 years after he died, I finally just went head on and just confronted it in order to do it. And you know what? I haven't had a desire for a cheeseburger, and probably since then, really, it just kind of got to it. But the point of it is, when you get to that why, it's like, okay, now you hit it, then you can tackle it. Then you can get the healthy options. Because the goal of this is to not eat the food that you shouldn't eat. You want to eat the food that you should, and you want to change that around. Second thing you want to do is you want to prepare the good food ahead of time. You want to just take your food, take the things, put them in Tupperware dishes, because preparatory reasons ahead of time will prevent you from going out and getting food, or prevent you, especially days like you're at work and you're kind of having a bummer day. Because you got to remember what triggers you to eat that food. It was when I got really, really super high stress, I was wanted to eat pizza. I'm like, oh yeah, and there's a Papa Gino's right behind where my day job is. So I'm like, yeah, I'll go get a slice instead, instead of eating one. I'm like, no, I have food in the fridge. I can't get that. I don't need that. So no, we want to get that out of the way. Number 3, you've got your why, you've prepared food. Now, here's the big kicker. The very beginning, we talked about emotional eating because it's connected to things of your past. So what we need to do is we need to take good food and we need to connect it to the present with good things. You get your tribe in order, that 3 to 5 people that you are extremely close to. You take those people in and you make them a good, healthy meal and create a great experience. Create that beautiful moment with them that you are feeling amazing, and that creates the new memories. And that center of the brain that hits that pleasure center, the same thing as, food and having sex, that center is there. Then you want to recreate that moment with good food again and again and again. And here we are. That simply can be it. How do you get out of emotional eating? There you go. And I really, really hope that helps, man. I've got a lot of great videos on this channel. Check one out, actually, right about here. I want you to go on, continue to climb, and I'll see you in the next video.